Hello, Taurus, and welcome to your reading for the week of November 5th through 12th, 2023. I'm now doing readings by sign. This is something new for me. And what I'm going to do is a general astrological spread for the week using two different decks. I'm going to be using my cartouche cards, which are Egyptian, and I'm going to elucidate these with tarot. And my tarot cards this week are the Aquarian Tarot deck. And I'm going to look at your week via astrological house. As I've mentioned in other readings, one of the big things that has just happened is that Saturn has moved direct in Pisces, and this means that whatever has been stopping us is now the places where we feel like we've been stuck. Now we're able to move forward. Saturn often moves very, very slowly, but we are in a place where we are going to finally start to see things that we maybe have been frustrated by, have not been able to do in the last, probably, I'm going to say even since summertime, probably since August. The things where we've been trying to move ahead and keep getting frustrated. Now there's definitely a chance to start moving ahead on things and looking at things realistically and making some real plans. So that is the good news. If you know your individual chart where Pisces is, will make a difference here. Okay, so I'm going to use my tarot deck here to elucidate what I'm looking at here in the astrological spread, which looks very good so far. And let's just see what we have here. Wow. Well, that's interesting. Two wanted to come out there. We'll do that. Yeah, there's, wow, a lot of new beginnings here for you, Taurus. So let's see. Okay. Okay, and I've ended up with two for the overall as well. Okay, so let's talk about what all this means. Now, the first house that I'm dealing with here is the house of Aries. This is the house of the self. This is the house of you, how you present yourself to the world. And we have Thoth here. Now, Thoth is a card of karma and of destiny. So I feel like this can also have to do with healing. You could be somebody who's very focused perhaps on writing or on a creative project or on just doing something that is, there's just something here about Thoth has to do with this kind is the scribe of the gods. And so there's definitely this focus on healing. It's definitely going to be this focus on self-reflection of some kind. But I feel like this has more to do with timing this week. You have it with the magician card, okay? And Thoth is also a magician. So there's this idea of manifesting, it being the right time to manifest something in your life. So you definitely want to be looking at, there's definitely this idea of this is not a passive thing. You want to put yourself out there, you want to be active, you want to go. You want to be seen, you want to be out there. And I feel like this is a card of like stepping into your power, like being where you need to be at this time. You may be being influenced by something broader. I mean, however you want to look at that, whether you want to think about it as your guides, whether you think about it as the universe. It's just for some reason, it feels like that this is the right time for you to do something. And so there's this sense of stepping into your power. In the second house, which is Taurus, this has to do with money. And we've got Hathor, which has strong Empress energy, which is Taurus. And this is the house of Taurus as well. So it's good to see your own card in your own sign. So Hathor, yeah, this is definitely a very good omen financially in terms of getting organized. Hathor usually represents feminine energy in particular. All aspects of feminine energy, whether you're talking about the female role as being more domestic or as being more independent, whichever way you go with it. And you have it with the moon, which is Pisces energy. And the moon may suggest that something is not clear right now. Like you may be confused about money, about where money's going to come from, what direction you're going to go in with money. So this either indicates the need for you to get organized in some fashion, to maybe perhaps to focus more on maybe, okay, the feminine generally here is considered to be something more passive than active. So it may even be a case of needing to sit back and seeing where this goes to some degree. I mean, Hathor is also very organized here, and there is this sense that something is brewing, something is growing. But for some people, Hathor may literally indicate a female or a female figure who helps you out financially as well. Whether this be a mother figure or whether it be just somebody else maybe who helps you in business or with your job or something like that. So there's definitely the strong kind of energy here. I think it all bodes well, but there is definitely the sense here that there's something not clear right now. But it will be made clear, I think. And so right now you just perhaps want to get your ducks in a row and get certain things organized for when these changes actually occur. The third house has to do with Gemini energy. So this is communication. This is, if you own a small business, this has to do with self-effort. So that may be applying to that. It could have to do with siblings. It can also have to do with technology and things like that. But it has to do generally with knowledge as well, but more superficial knowledge, not really deeper knowledge. And we have Ta here. So there's this idea of getting to work. Ta is strong Capricorn energy, Saturn energy. So this for you is where Saturn is appearing. And it seems like now this is the time when you can start to build the foundation of something. And again, whether this has to do with you, it has to do with one of your siblings, or whether it has to do with something that you are working on, whether it be a business or something else, some other kind of communication perhaps that you're trying to build, some kind of network you're trying to build. Ta always has to do with building. We see the Masonic symbol here, and it has a lot to do with building. And wow, you got it with the Knight of Swords and the Ace of Swords. So these cards, this is definitely the indication of messages, and this is the house of communication. So there's definitely going to be messages coming in, and messages that are coming in very, very suddenly. Like the Knight of Swords is usually shown as being on a horse and rushing in really, really fast. So this could be, this just could be something that catches you off guard, that takes you by surprise, that comes in very, very suddenly. So be aware that there's going to be messages coming in that may make you see a situation in a completely new way. You may decide to do something new based on that happening. And interestingly, here in the fourth house, which is the house of your, this has to do with your home, your environment, your sense of security, and also potentially the mother for some people. Whether it be, again, this can have to do with your physical dwelling, and it can have to do with your own personal sense of self or how you feel. And we have Osiris here, okay, which is like a bit like the Emperor card. So it's interesting. We have kind of an Empress thing here, even though Osiris is usually paired with Isis in this one, who we'll see over here. But again, there's this idea of establishing foundations. In the House of Security, this is very, very good, because this is the idea that you are on a solid foundation, that you can trust your judgments, that things are actually good. And here, once again, we have another ace. We have the Ace of Rods. So this is about being fiery and inspired. Like Ace of Wands is fire energy, the root of fire energy. So it's about being impassioned, being motivated to do something new. So you've got these two aces right next to each other. So there's definitely a sense here that something new is absolutely coming in for you. And it seems to be connected. There may be messages that are coming in. This may be something connected to your home specifically, maybe to the mother for some people, or to somebody, to family to some degree, because like, again, we have siblings and we have a parent here. Again, take it as it resonates. That's not going to be for everybody. But there's going to be some quick information coming in, some quick changes. But then with these two very, very strong and stable cards that are next to them, you have the Ta and you have the Osiris card, which has to do with building foundations. It does seem to sense that, you can be confident in the foundation that you've built, that you can make a decision from a place that is grounded. It's also advising you to do that, to take a good realistic look at anything that is being offered. And before there will be a new beginning, but before you charge ahead, make sure you're being grounded and seeing something exactly the way that it is, because maybe it's possible. I'm not seeing cards that suggest any kind of trickery or manipulation. but there is a sense here that, you know, you want to make sure that you're, when you're very, very, this is not a very emotional card. Ace of Rods can be this fiery intensity. So make sure if you're operating out of that intensity, that you're grounding it a little bit with making sure that you're looking at things as they really are. Let's look at the 5th house. This is the house of Leo energy. And this is interesting. Aries just got this card in their reading, and this is Bastet. A lot of people are getting this. This is the idea of needing to kind of cool off, take some time, get out, socialize, enjoy. We have it with the 5 of Pentacles, so this sometimes is concerns about finances, but since this is a house also of love affairs, it could be that you feel somebody is ghosting you, or you could feel left out in the cold, or maybe not really sure about which direction a romantic relationship is going to take, and in which case this card would be advising you to listen to your intuition. Again, be careful about be careful about getting too lost in emotional responses, because sometimes we may look at something that's in front of us and say, oh, see, look at that. That means it's terrible, or it's not going to work, or you know, things are going to be bad, or things are going to fail, and that may not be the case. You need to follow your instincts on something, but also you need to relax and not worry about this kind of a situation. We'll have to look and see what appears in the other house, but there's also, this is also the house of creative projects. So this could also sometimes be feeling, someone might be feeling creatively starved or at a loss. So overall, I mean, the 5 of Pentacles usually indicates that there are resources and help available. There is, you know, you are not as lost as you think you are. There's definitely the sense of being able to, you know, to walk into this church here and say to come out of the cold for some degree. And that may be what Bast is saying as well, that you need to connect and you need to network, to get involved with others, and to focus on your own happiness. You might be focused too much on somebody else, and you may need to be focusing on yourself a little bit. Okay, 6th house has to do with, this is Virgo energy, and this has to do with our health, and also with things that we're worried about, things we have anxiety about, sometimes domestic animals for some people, but this is, and also a house of, I always talk about this as the job versus the career house. I mean, this is kind of about, this is a house of service, so it's about what you might be doing. It could be something you're doing as an act of service, but it could also just be what you do for work, okay? And you have Isis here. So Isis, again, is a very strong mother card, strong motherhood card, but has a lot of the elements of the High Priestess that we see in the Tarot and Isis. So Isis can be about mysteries being revealed. It also can indicate a situation where you need to continue to persevere. You just need to be patient. So I feel like this has to do with worry, like something you're worried about. It's just, you need to persevere with it. And we have it with the Hermit. So the Hermit often indicates, again, a time to withdraw, to take some time out, to think, to look before we leap. For our mental health, we may actually just need to take some time away to think about things before we act. Now, the 7th house is Libra energy, and this has to do with our partnerships of all kinds, business partnerships, romantic partnerships, any kind of legalized relationship of some kind. Now, we have the 8 of Cups here, so yeah, there's this sense here of wanting to walk away from something, and we have it with this card of Anubis, this card of protection. And this also came up in the Aries reading. So there may be this sense of either you or somebody else is protecting themselves. With the 8 of Cups, there may be a need to walk away from something. I feel like this is coming up because there may be sort of it doesn't even have to be with an old relationship. It can just be a way of being, or a way you've been living your life, or just something kind of you've accepted, or something you've kind of settled for or settled into that you need to walk away from. That you'll be much better off, and of course, again, Anubis always suggests that we are going to be protected in these situations, even if we think that we are leaving ourselves open and vulnerable. But it seems to me that in terms of a relationship, there may be a relationship that you need to let go of, especially seeing the 5 of Pentacles here. I think the question then becomes, is a particular relationship worth it? Or if it's somebody who continually ghosts you or doesn't reach out or doesn't get involved, then I think you need to think about whether or not this is something, even if it was something that perhaps even that worked or that made you feel very alive in the past, whether or not you need to walk away from that. And again, if this is nothing to do with romance for somebody, then there's definitely just this sense of there could be some kind of significant partnership that you may need to rethink, or, maybe you just need to come to a friendly ending and move on to something else. Anubis also acts as a guide through uncertain situations, so think about that. 8th house is Scorpio energy, and this is our house of transformation and other people's money. And it's interesting because Queen of Pentacles shows up here. This is very strong financial. So for some people, this could mean this. It's funny because it's across from the 2nd house. And we have Hathor here. And I feel like these two are very similar in nature. Not exactly, they don't mean exactly the same thing. But there's definitely this strong female energy surrounding money for Taurus. I don't know. That comes into my mind. This could be another earth sign woman. Who's going to be connected to something to do with your finances in particular. But the Queen of Pentacles is generally somebody who's sharing, who has enough to share. And you have it with the winged disc, which is great because winged disc indicates overcoming difficulties, being able to, whatever you can't see clearly right now, if this is the moon card here, then this is really the equivalent of the sun card in this deck. It's the winged disc of the sun. So there's definitely a sense that obstacles will be overcome, that clarity will be attained. And this to me, and being this is the house of transformation and other people's money, among other things, I feel like this indicates that you are moving in the direction of success. You are moving in the direction of receiving the help or assistance that you need, and perhaps establishing the security that you feel that you need. Okay, 9th house is Sagittarius energy, and this usually has to do with higher learning, so university learning and that sort of thing. It can also have to do with long journeys and our life philosophy. Now we start with the 3 of Swords, and 3 of Swords indicates, recovery from heartache, separation. You may have been isolated, and this may represent a period of coming out of isolation for you, as we have it with the twins. And so this could be recovery from a heartache for somebody. This could be, with respect to this house, this could be something that occurs. It could be for somebody, it could be literally occurring at a college or university, but this also could be the idea of taking a long trip to deal with, to meet with someone, to deal with heartache, to try to heal heartache. Because 3 of Swords, as unhappy as this card looks, it does actually have to do with healing something. But the twins, there definitely seems to be either somebody connected with school, higher ed, perhaps somebody who's a mentor or teacher to you, or this could just have to do with somebody you meet while traveling. But there's definitely this sense of having an opportunity to meet someone and heal in another context. Like I said, whether it be educational or whether it be having to do with travel, or maybe both. Okay, you've got in the 10th house, which is Capricorn energy, you have both air and the King of Cups. Now, King of Cups is often, this is somebody in control of their emotions. So, this could represent an actual person. It could represent a person who has romantic feelings for you or cares. I mean, you don't have to worry about the gender. Even though it's a king, it could represent a woman. But there's this idea of someone coming in, if not somebody who's a lover, at least it's somebody who cares or provides emotional stability. And you have it with air. So when that shows up in the 10th house, which is the house of fame, it's the house of reputation, your career, this almost indicates to me that there's a change in job or a move or a change being made in your career. So, or traveling for that as well. I mean, we're seeing this over here. So there could be that there's this partnership or this change that has to do with somebody that, that's also going to affect or impact your career. So I don't know. I feel like that's going to have to do with travel for somebody. But nonetheless, I do feel like even if you're not changing jobs or changing careers, there may be certain changes on the horizons or important communications there. And their communications, I mean, they have to do with something of an emotional nature, certainly, whether this has to do with somebody who brings love or not. 11th house is Aquarius, and Aquarius energy. Okay, this is the house of your networks, friends, and also your hopes and wishes. And Scarab here indicates a new beginning. So this can indicate new friendships. This can indicate a new hope or wish or a goal. And you have it with the King of Swords. So the King of Swords is somebody who can see things very clearly. Again, there's this kind of clinical cutting through the BS, so to speak, and seeing something for what it really is. This could have to do with a friendship, or it could just have to do with some kind of goal that you have. But whatever it is, I mean, again, I'm seeing this walking away over here. So there could be certain friendships that you end up releasing, or certain networks that you may just say, you know what, no, this isn't working for me anymore. I need to walk away from this. But there's definitely a new beginning in the offing and a chance to establish new wishes and meet new people. Finally, we have Pisces energy in the 12th house. This has to do with what you hide. And so you may actually be very stressed out, Taurus. This is a card of potentially a card that has to do with worry. I mean, Lotus has to do with calming the mind. So if it's showing up in the 12th house, there could just be unconscious worries or fears about something. And with the Six of Cups, this has to do with something having to do with the past, a past situation or a past person, or it could just be somebody who is important to you, somebody maybe who you have a karmic tie to or a karmic connection to. But there's definitely, there feels like there's this sense of the past that may be coming up and maybe causing worry for you in some fashion. It doesn't have to be a specific person coming back or a specific, it doesn't have, or specifically a past thing, but there's this sense of a past repeating itself potentially in some way. And that this may be causing you some kind of anxiety. But I think it's a matter of, again, letting the past go and being confident to move forward. There may be some nervousness about doing that, but I feel like there's a need to recognize when something is coming out of the past and not relevant to the present. Now, overall, we have the Ankh. So yeah, there's definitely this sense of focusing on love, on whether it be love of another person, whether it be self-love, or just about what you authentically want to do. I mean, Ankh is about what it means to be alive. So that needs to be your focus this week. And you have it with 2 nines, yeah. You have the 9 of Swords and the 9 of Pentacles. And 9 of Swords indicates, having too much worry about something, worrying about stuff generally that doesn't happen and that you can't do anything about. It's all the stuff that we ruminate on. But with the 9 of Pentacles, there's definitely this idea of needing to establish your independence and your own security. So the way to do this here is it's saying is you need to focus on what your on what matters to you. I'm seeing this a lot with readings now. It's not telling you to just do what you have to do. You don't need to go to the grind. If you have a job that you've hated, this may be saying, look, you need to rethink that and make some changes up here. There's definitely this sense of needing to focus on what one authentically feels that they need to be doing, whether you believe it's going to be something that's going to bring a lot of money or not, whether you're worried about, yes, but what if I do this and this happens, with the 9 of Pentacles, there's definitely the sense of establishing yourself, establishing your security, and getting firm in all of that before you move into new relationships and so forth, which will happen. I mean, there are new things that are coming in. But for right now, you want to, you have a solid foundation. You've got some messages coming in. Definitely seems to be some changes in your career and what you're doing, and perhaps some changes to partnerships as well. But just hang tight because it looks to me like everything, you've got a lot of things here that are moving towards a new beginning and towards you being both, independent financially and otherwise, and being able to do what it is that you love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.